What's up, guys? That got the pencil here, back for another edition of Tier List 2 I Have Issues Tuesdays. Yes, we are here and we are back, and let us rank the My Hero Academia arcs. Now, I'll be real with you. I think My Hero Academia has I mean, they're actually pretty good. They're actually pretty good, especially when they're not focused on the main character. Spoilers for what arcs I won't like, but I'm kidding. So you can see, we got the 5 tiers. We got the Fuego, the Heat, the Fire. Then we got Toasty. You know, it's pretty good. It's pretty nice. It's kind of well cooked. We got the Lukewarm, like, you know, it's. I mean, I'll still eat it, but like, I would prefer something a little more cooked. And then you got the, you know, the undercooked, like the Am I gonna get salmonella from this? I'm probably gonna get salmonella from this, aren't I? And then I have the ice cube. Like, literally, I ordered a hot meal. What do I have an ice cube for? But let's get it. Let's talk about these arcs. So, should I go in chronological order? Because here's the thing. You know, I guess I should go in chronological order. So where is it? Entrance exam? Is that the entire first arc? I'm assuming it is. Entrance exam must be the entire first arc. So, I think My Hero Academia has an okay beginning. A very, very okay beginning. It hooked me on the premise initially, because I thought, oh, we're going to have a kid in a world of superheroes and superpowers without superpowers? It's going to be fantastic. But of course, like, we couldn't even get through the whole first episode before figuring out that was a lie. So, well, At least, no, that's the thing. I can't blame the show for that, because I think someone else put that expectation into my head, and it was just wrong by the first episode / chapter. So that's not their fault. That's not the manga's fault. That's my fault, I guess, for hoping for something unique and not just some lucky story. And the reason I say it's lukewarm in its entirety, I mean, it introduces Midori, introduces All Might, introduces Bakugo, obviously 3 mainstay characters. And like entrance exam, it also goes to introduce Araka, quickly introduces Ida. It does a lot of good for the narrative as a whole, I'd say. It obviously sets up UA. It sets up the entire world, basically. So you know what? I'll put it in Toasty. I just don't like how luck-based the initial part of Midoriya meeting All Might and clinging on to him and getting All Might's entire backstory, and luckily proving to All Might that he's a good candidate for One for All despite having no other experience or combat experience or anything of the sort. All that's what drags the arc down for me. Like, if it wasn't so luck-based, that's the thing, the story couldn't start off if it wasn't luck-based, because it would make no sense otherwise. Like, I literally I couldn't rewrite the entrance exam arc to make it make sense. The plot contrivances, as many of them as there are sadly all necessary, because otherwise the story can't start. So it's Toasty. It introduces me to a lot of characters that I really, really like. Introduces the entire world, and of course, you know me, I like the My Hero Academia Society. It's one of my favorite parts, if not my favorite part about it outside Endeavor. So I think it's pretty darn solid. Now, moving on to the next arc. Where is it? Is it Battle? No, it's not Battle Trial. It's undercooked. It's undercooked. Like the Quirk apprehension test. Is this even an arc? How long was this? Was this like an episode? If that? Was this like two or 3 chapters? If that? If that. I feel like it wasn't even 2 or 3 chapters. The Quirk apprehension test. It was. The reason I say it's undercooked is because, like, I was lied to. I was bamboozled. I was swindled by Horikoshi. I thought we were going to get a smart main character. But no. He has to be told to know, Midori. Maybe breaking your entire arm just to throw one ball for one test isn't the best idea. Maybe you should isolate One for All to, you know, singular body parts. And he's not necessarily told. He does figure it out on his own. But, like, after breaking your whole arm and leg, I feel like that should be something that just comes to you naturally. Like, whoa, I don't like breaking body parts. Maybe I should just focus on maybe one at a time at least. You know, I have multiple tests. It just really sold me on the It didn't sell me on the idea that Midoriya was a smart character. It sold me on the idea that Midoriya is a slow character. Like, he not slow in a negative sense, or like slow in like development wise, just slow as in the sense that like he doesn't think much, and he doesn't pick up really, rather, at least from me, at least from an outside perspective looking in, he doesn't pick up much quickly. Like, he needs to either be directly told everything, or an idea needs to be drilled into his head over and over and over again. And that's not just, and for me, that's just not fun to watch. So that's why I say it's undercooked. We don't really get introduced to much here. I mean, we get introduced to Aizawa, who's admittedly one of the best characters in the entire show. But other than that, like, this arc was kind of just, I'm still kind of shocked it counts as an arc. And if I'm being honest with you, it makes no sense to me that this is an arc. Like, why this one? Like, this is the one that gets arc status, Horikoshi? Huh? Really? So yeah, I don't know. I feel like it was just not a waste of time, because it was a necessity, but it was weird. It was very, very weird. Moving on to, I believe it would be the battle trial. It's lukewarm. You see, I still don't, to this day, I still don't think the plan that Midoriya and Uraraka came up with makes sense. Like, the amount of things that had to go right and at the same time not go wrong in that scenario, like, that wasn't a plan. That was a hope for the best. And I guess that is, I don't know. And also just like Midoriya kind of just casually eating explosions from Bakugo. I don't know. It was so weird. Like, he didn't have one for all powering him up or anything. Like, Bakugo just hit him with an explosive hand, and Midoriya kind of just ate it. I mean, this is good because it puts, not a crack, it really punches a straight hole in the Bakugo's glass house, make him realize how fodder he is compared to Midoriya now. But that's why it's lukewarm. Like, that is one of my favorite moments in Bakugo's character, when he just is like, has the most rude of awakenings, where he's just like, oh, so I'm nothing. Yikes. But other than that, I think the rest of the arc is kind of weird. We don't see much of the other battles. Like, we get introduced to Todoroki here, but it's very quick. It's not very elaborated on. None of the other characters really get any highlight. Ida and Uraraka are mainly just side, like, of course they're side characters, but they're like, they don't really get much of anything, and they're the other two partners in this fight. And just Midoriya versus Bakugo round one, it was just never did anything for me. Like, typically when I look to like rival battles, which is what this is supposed to be, it's called, I mean, at least it's commonly referred to as Midoriya versus Bakugo round one. The issue I have with it is that, like, not only is there no weight to it because they're just fighting for school, but the implied weight is that Bakugo is angry at Midoriya for Midoriya having a quirk, and Midoriya is angry at Bakugo. Oh wait, no, he isn't. And honestly, I feel like a more vindictive Midoriya would have worked better here. Like, a Midoriya that was actually angry with Bakugo for like mistreating him for all these years, and he finally has the power to do something about it, and he just pulls up and whacks Bakugo. Because, like, that's the thing. I'll get it. Is it on here? Does it fall as its own arc? No, it doesn't. I'll see when I get there which arc it falls under. I guess it would come in award. It'd probably fall under that one. But the reason, like, this one doesn't hit that much, because I feel like Midoriya didn't necessarily win a fight. He beat the criteria of the class assignment they were on, kind of through a plan that didn't really make sense as a plan. There's so many issues I have with it. That's the thing. That's why it's lukewarm. It has in my opinion, one of the most important, one of the most pivotal parts of Bakugo's character lodged into it. And I like that a lot. That's what boosts it up from Undercooked and Ice Cube. But, like, in terms of the rest of it, I just think it's weird. I think it's very, very weird. I feel like it doesn't make much sense, from Midoriya eating explosions to the nonsensical plan to the lack of introduction of any other characters. This is just, it's very, very lukewarm. And I'm gonna move on before I drop it lower, because I feel like I just need to move on before I start attacking it even more. So let's move on to, I believe, the USJ. The USJ arc was fuego in my mind, because it does multiple good things. It does many, many good things. First, it shows off the peak of herohood. Now, what do I mean? I mean, it shows All Might's limits. And that's it's very important to establish that one of your characters that is still supposed to be portrayed as human, Toshinori Yagi or All Might, it's very, very important that he is portrayed as human, like a human being with limits that has like breaking points and boundaries, because it makes him feel more realistic. And the more realistic a character feels, the better for me. So I liked seeing that. I think that the fight itself was a little bit boring, and it really did just boil down to hit the thing harder. But the thing that I liked about it a lot was that it was choreographed more interestingly than a lot of hit the thing harders, for the most part. When All Might and it were just punching at each other, that wasn't very interesting. But the way All Might was throwing it around, moving around violently, that was all very interesting to watch, and I don't mind that. I think it's a good introduction point for many other characters. Like Asui gets her main introduction here, Mineta gets his main introduction here, Jiro gets him. Like everyone, this is like a pseudo Chunin exams where we get little spotlights on everybody from Yayorozu to Jiro to Kaminari to Asui to Mineta to even Kirishima and more of Bakugo and even a bit of Uraraka and Ida. Like almost every single character gets a little chunk of spotlight, and I think that's very, very necessary in an ensemble cast narrative that My Hero Academia is. And I feel like, honestly, no arc, let me look at that, let me think, even the current war arc, I think no arc has done it better with the ensemble cast than the USJ, and I still think the USJ could be improved. I feel like more characters should have gotten the spotlight, and I feel like some characters were kind of just, Horikoshi just didn't know what to do with them at the time. That's why we didn't get to see much of them. Like, I don't remember anything that Ashido did. I don't remember anything that Hagakure did. I don't remember anything that Shoji did. I don't remember anything of that. Oh, we got Todoroki in this arc too. More Todoroki. That's always good. I don't remember much of any of all the characters. That's the thing. And that's the thing. That's the issue with having 20 characters in one classroom plus 3 pro heroes. It's a difficult thing to write, and that's why tournament arcs typically work out better than something like this. But I'd still say the USJ arc does way better than the My Hero Academia tournament arc, which is what we're going to be hopping into next. Oh, and also the USJ arc introduced Shigaraki, the League of Villains. That was very, very good because it was a necessity. We needed a central threat, because honestly, if you look at these first 3 arcs, there's no real threat established. We're just following the kids trying to become heroes. But heroes against what? Like, All Might's still there. There's no real big bad. It's just random thugs. So I believe introducing Shigaraki in the USJ arc, really, really good. All these points from All Might's humanization to a really interestingly choreographed fight to great usage of multiple characters that hadn't gotten spotlight up to that point, to the introduction of Shigaraki, the League of Villains, all that really, really good. That's why this arc is fuego. It gets the fire pass. Now, let's move on to I'd say let's talk about the sports festival. Now, I know people are going to get mad at me like, oh, how dare you, Pencil? How could you say that how dare you, Pencil? How can you say that the overhaul, whoa, I'm getting ahead of myself. How can you say that the sports festival arc is undercooked? And, you better be lucky I'm not putting it in Ice Cube. Don't ask me no, I'm kidding. But the reason I think the sports festival specifically is undercooked, like it could use a bit more time in the oven, is that I feel like it was supposed to serve a similar role to what the USJ served, where it showed a lot of side characters. It's like, you know what this sports festival was supposed to be. It was supposed to be the tuning exams for My Hero Academia, but I think Horikoshi got a bit too rushed doing that. Like, honestly, I think the tuning exams are like, just in general, as like a writing feat, very hard to replicate, like nigh on impossible to replicate. The tuning exam straight into the Sasuke retrieval arc, that's some next level writing stuff that I'm probably going to talk about in its own video, because I feel like it deserves its respect. But to specifically talk back to the sports festival, I say it's undercooked because a lot of things were shown, a lot of things were done, but none of them had real narrative cohesion. It's almost like, obviously it's a story, so we're going to be hitting plot point from plot point to plot point, but like, I felt like we were going from point A to C to B back to E, or like we were just hopping all around, because you had Shinso's whole arc, his whole introduction. I know a lot of people love that. I think Shinso was cheated out of a win because of Midoriya's nonsense. That got recently retconned into making sense, but I'm confident. I'm going to look up that panel. I may not put it in this video specifically, but I'm going to look up that panel. I'm pretty sure All Might has no idea what happened in that fight but then Horikoshi acts like he did know at the time. I'm confident that was a retcon, but maybe I'm crazy. Maybe I dreamed up that panel. So I'm gonna go look for that sometime. Maybe this video, maybe not, when I talk about the sports festival in depth, if I ever do. But I feel like that was a waste. I didn't get that. I mean, this really started the issue. Well, the inconsistency started back in the USJ arc where Midoriya didn't break his arm from using One for All for some reason. But Midoriya super breaking his fingers, that was the thing that was introduced here, which completely just negated the cost of One for All, which wasn't very good. I feel like Todoroki's arc was very, very rushed. Like, I refuse to believe that not a single person in Todoroki's life told him that it was his power. And honestly, the sports festival suffers only because the Hero Killer arc takes place right after. So it goes from Todoroki being reluctant to use his powers to not using them at all, to Midoriya saying one sentence at him and suddenly bursting the full power, to suddenly closing up again and not wanting to use his powers against Bakugo, to the very next arc, which takes place probably not even like 2 weeks later, to him working directly under Endeavor. So Todoroki's character, it seemed very, very rushed and messy and stuck together, and there was nothing else. Like, think about it. What else was there in the sports festival arc? Do you remember it? From the sports festival arc specifically, outside of Monoma, who of the 1B students do you remember? And maybe like Ibarra. And maybe Kendo? But I'm pretty sure, was Kendo even a main focal? That's the thing, I don't remember. Because none of them really got to the tournament, and the tournament itself wasn't much of a tournament. It was mainly just the Midoriya show, and then like a little bit of the Todoroki show, and then that was it. There wasn't much interesting combat. We didn't see much about the characters. The only character that got even remotely close to anything like Spotlight was Tokoyami. Even then, Tokoyami got jobbed by Bakugo. So, I don't know. I think it's very, very undercooked. I feel like it needed more time, but that's a thing that, in my opinion, My Hero Academia needs a lot more. I feel like that's the thing. I feel like My Hero Academia in general has very, very nasty pacing issues where sometimes it's moving too fast and the other times it's moving too slow, and you'll see when I get to that later. But let's move on from the sports festival, which I just believe is underdeveloped, undercooked, because it has so many interesting ideas that just get tossed aside, and some of them just doesn't make sense, and it removes costs for important things. It's a mess. It's very undercooked. But let's move on to a nice and actually, is it? No, I can't, because USJ had the same thing. Hero Killer Stain art, fuego, fire. Charmander, is that you? Because it's burning up in here. Because honestly, I think the Hero Killer Stain art, ooh. Now, I like the USJ arc more. Do I? Yeah, I like it more, mainly because in my mind, Stain is obviously top, I forget where I put him. Top 5 villains, My Hero Academia, easy product of the society, shook the whole society, or at least he rattled it for a bit. He did a lot of interesting stuff. Narrative-wise, I believe the fight between Stain versus Midoriya, Ida, and Todoroki is one of the best fights in the series, even though it still has very simple choreography. I think Stain's quirk is really interesting, despite him having multiple different types of HIV. I think all these things for Stain build up really, really well, and I feel like he was lucky. He was one of the lucky ones that the villain worked, the arc worked. The only issues I even have with the arc is Midoriya just, once again, being slow in the uptake. Like, really, Midoriya, you break your bones with 100%, so you don't think about spreading it evenly throughout your body at a lower percent. It's just simple stuff like that I don't get, and little inconsistencies where Midoriya is really the main holdback factor of all these arcs, because I think Ida's arc is just fine. I think Ida's arc is great. It's the reason I put him in one of my favorite characters in Class 1A, because I think it's actually really, really good, and I wish he had more after that. But no, he sort of just disappears after this, because every character in My Hero Academia is about a one-arc wonder until they disappear forever. Unless you're Midoriya or Bakugo. But even still, they're on their one-arc wonder times too. It's just being stretched out very long. Except for maybe Bakugo. Bakugo is better. But the Hero Killer Stain, very, very solid. Like I said, the only issues I have is like the Todoroki thing and the Midoriya thing, but I have a lot of issues with Midoriya all the time, and Todoroki's thing is just weird to me. Maybe I'm missing something. like a lot of people have like tried to argue to me that, oh, Endeavor's the best in the business, you got to go to him, but I'm just like, yeah, but the trauma though, like the same trauma that didn't let Todoroki use his fire powers for like 15 years, all that trauma, or fine, maybe like 10 years, that's a lot of trauma just to overwrite because you want to go to the best in the business. Like, I mean, but hey, whatever, that's that for that. Now, moving on to what's next. I do believe that would be final exams. Lukewarm. Once again, there's not much to talk about here. The only real standout moments for our character. You know what? I'll put it up in Toasty. Because Mineta had, I know a lot of people aren't going to like this, but Mineta has one of the best standout character moments in the entire manga. I believe Nezu's introduction here as a madman was fantastic. I think that's great. I think the way All Might brutalizes Bako and Midoriya into working together is fantastic. I feel like, is it? No, it's not. Because the reason it's a lot of empty space, once again, this is the problem with having a massive ensemble cast. A lot of it feels like it's just like fluff stuffed in there. And of course, this arc is it the start? No, it's not the start. It pretty much started all the way back in like the sports festival, if not the battle trial. But this also perpetuates the Araka being solely motivated by Midoriya thing, and I'm just like, oh, I really don't like when female characters are only motivated by male characters. Why is this always a thing, Japan? But hey, what can I do? I'm here to judge. I didn't write the series. I can't rewrite the series, or can I? What if Midoriya was confident? Am I writing that? Ooh, couldn't be me. But I don't know. I believe it has really good moments. I feel like its peaks, like the Mineta scene, like the scene depicted here, like Midoriya outplaying All Might. All those scenes are like fuego scenes, like they're top of the line. But there's so much dragging in the arc with poor scenes with other characters, and there's dragging, which is just flat lines with like Ida and Ojiro, with Sato and Kirishima. There's so many dragging scenes. And then they're just straight up negative moments like Uraraka that hold it back from being fuego. Now, to move on to the Forest Training Camp. I did not mean to grab you. Forest Training Camp. It's undercooked. No, it's not undercooked. It's lukewarm. It's okay. The reason I say that is I was intrigued with where it was going. But when the villain showed up, I'm just like, oh, okay, so villains are here. No one seemed to get any real actual training benefit from it, at least as far as I could tell. Like, the Pussycats did nothing for the 1A students or the 1B students, as far as I know. So that part of it was worthless. A lot of the heroes just ended up getting body bagged, so that was pretty worthless. I mean, we get good introductions or, like, combat introductions to, like, Dabi and Toga and Twice and, like, all these beings. Spinner, Magne, all of them, we get more League of Villain members, and that's always good to see. But the issue I always find with it is that, like, that didn't have to come at the cost of, like, actual proper training and, like, more character stuff between the 1A students, because one of the biggest things that's constantly repeated and pushed about the 1A students is that, oh, they're so close-knit, so tightly wound together like a big old family. I rarely see that, so I find it really hard to believe. And the reason it's lukewarm, you know what I'm here for. Oh, man, Pencil always doesn't like when rules are broken, man. Just stop complaining and suck it up. I did. That's why I made Midoriya's okay last week. I'm sucking it up. Still doesn't mean I don't have to like it. It still doesn't mean it still means I can't English right now. I don't like it still. Midoriya, 1,000,000% stupid. Adrenaline rush it all you want. I don't care. It still doesn't make sense to me. Like, I know adrenaline is crazy, but both his arms were broken. He was literally being buried. How does that work? I'm not actually angry. I hope I don't actually ever come off as angry in these videos. I realize it, like, after I do this, but, like, I'm not actually angry. I'm not as disappointed in Horikoshi that was the writing decision made. And, like, this is this is I'll even spoil it. The Let's Chat this Friday is literally talking about My Hero Academia's writing, and I'm gonna get into it there. But little sneak peek, little glimpse into the future. Midori keeps getting put up against people he should not be fighting, and it's one of the most contradictory and stupid things that I have with this entire series. But other than that, arc's okay. I really like Dabi's introduction, or like his combat introduction where he's burning and then he fights Vlad King and Aizawa and he gets snapped in half and it's just a clone. I like Mr. Compress's introduction when he steals Bakugo. Toga is weird and has always been weird. The fact that people actually like Toga is a bit concerning to me. What kind, like, I'm not here to whatever shame, but like, I'm glad you enjoy it, but keep it away from me. Twice was, that's the thing, I never vibed with Twice, so I personally just never went for him. That's just me. I don't know. Twice always gave me the bad vibes. Like, maybe it's just because he reminds me too much of Deadpool, and I've never been the biggest fan of Deadpool. So there's that. Other than that, I think it was okay. That's the thing. It just has too many like dragged down moments. Not even dragged down moments. It has the one big one, and then the fact that the arc pretty much flatlines for the most part, except for like cool character introductions every once in a while. So it has one massive negative for me, mostly flatline, and like a few sharp positives. That's why it's lukewarm, directly in the middle. Let's see. What's left? Now, what's left? What's in order? I believe I can fly. It's at the bottom of Fuego. I don't know why I start singing randomly. This is what happens when I record, and I just like... this is what happens when I turn the mic on and just be like, you know what, go ahead, Pencil, just lose your mind. That's what happens. I start singing. But Hideout Raid, Kamino Award. Mount Lady was actually a useful female in My Hero Academia. Boys, we got one. We have singular. We have uno. I'm proud, Horikoshi. You let the women do one thing. I'm not letting that go. But, yes, I'm proud of Mount Lady and All Might. But All For One's introduction was kind of whack, and his instant introduction to only be defeated was also kind of whack, and I do believe that you didn't have to do Gang Orca like that. Gang Orca's my boy. Like, why'd you have to do him like that, Horikoshi? You could have let him replace him with Ryuki or something like that so she can get body bag. Like, I didn't need Gang Orca to drop. We hadn't even seen Gang Orca up to that point. Come on now, Horikoshi. But in terms of actually talking about it, Fall of All Might, very, very good. The ramifications it has on the rest of the narrative, very, very good. The switch, here's the thing. I like what All Might did to All For One. Sure, it was a one-hit fight. It wasn't even really a fight. It was just All Might getting bullied for a while, and then he instantly turned around and one-shot All For One. But I think it's cool how he faked All For One out. That's about it. I think the arc is really, really fire for the fact of, for what it does for the rest of the narrative. I feel like that is how the arc is really just Fuego. Now to the provisional license man, I've never seen a Ice Cube of an arc like this. Now, you may be like, whoa, what did provisional license exam do to you? And to that I say, nothing really. I just don't like it. Because see, I don't want to just spoil topics in my let's chat about My Hero Academia's writing, but the writing in this is very, very weird. Got Midori's blood for little to nothing for Toga. Like, Bakugo and Todoroki, the Todoroki and Inasa thing, that is... I have a lot of weird character issues with Todoroki specifically that I'm going to address in this own video. I'm probably going to call that like the confused writing of Shoto Todoroki or something like that. Something of the sort. Because that just made no sense to me. The fact that Midori of all characters had to come in and be like, yo, you two, stop being dumb. Fight Gang Orca. That is just sad to me. There's nothing except for Gang Orca himself. There's nothing good in this arc. And Gang Orca's barely in the arc. This arc is whack. Like, it's definitely it's so far away from Fuego that's literally an ice cube. That's how whack that arc is to me. I just don't, no, not that one, not that one. You can like whatever you want to like. I'll give you credit. That one, that's easily, dare I say that's my least favorite arc? Yeah, that's easy my least favorite arc. Moving on to, now honestly, I don't know the order. Is it Remedial Course? feel like it's not Remedial course. I feel like it's the Overhaul arc. Overhaul arc, it's toasty. Now, editing pencil. I don't remember where this point in the video is. I'll see. Editing pencil. I want you to put on the screen just a little quick infomercial of my enjoyment of the Overhaul arc. So you see? Yeah, that's the enjoyment of the Overhaul arc. Pretty much, it was a pretty good line of top tier stuff. Then it dropped the ball for a while, fumbled it, and then picked it back up. I criticized the Overhaul arc a lot. I rewrote the entire thing for like a combination of 50 minutes, but I still think it's very good. I think it's one of the better arcs in My Hero Academia, just because Overhaul is really, really solid. I think some of the fights in it, Rappa and Tengai versus Fat Gum and Kirishima, I think that was great. I think, honestly, looking back on fights like Tamaki versus the Three Expendables, that was really good. I just think it's a little bit hypocritical. Obviously, what keeps it out of Fuego is obviously that whack Midoriya versus Overhaul fight, and the fact that four female heroes were just left out because Horikoshi. Here's the thing. I'm not sure if Horikoshi left them out, because there's a coin toss. When I initially saw it, I'm just like, oh, he made her a dragon. That's a bit unfair. And oh, he basically made Nejire a Dragon Ball character. That's a bit unfair. But then I was like looking back, like realized I don't think, unless I'm mistaken, Nejire doesn't even have a hero name. That's how little care he put into her. So I think he just left it out because he didn't want to work with her. And I think that's sad as an author, but that's just me. I know a lot of people are just like, hey, just leave Horikoshi be. And I still do leave him be for the most part. But that one, it's what really holds those two major things is what really hold the arc back from being Fuego and honestly being my favorite. Because I love Overhaul. I love a lot of the interactions in that arc. Mirio's great. Oh, and also, obviously Night Eye's death was a waste, but I made a whole video on the failure of Night Eye's character, so you can just go watch that to hear my thoughts on that. Now, moving on to the Remedial course. I mean, it was lukewarm. No. I didn't like Inasa after his introduction. I thought his Quirk was cool, but that's it. Todoroki, Bakugo. I mean, it's nice seeing Bakugo's development. Bakugo's development is the main reason why it's at the top of lukewarm. Because it's just great to see a character like him grow up like that. I think that's very, very good. But other than that, there's nothing much in there. Not a big fan of Cammy. Not a big fan of Inasa. I think Todoroki's weird. So the only perk I have is Bakugo. And it's just that the perk is so strong that I put it in lukewarm instead of undercooked or ice cube. Now, to move on. Was the Gentle arc or was it the Pro Hero arc? It was Remedial course, so I'm assuming it was the Pro Hero arc. That's arc in My Hero Academia, hands down. Fantastic development for the society, fantastic development for the world, fantastic development for Endeavor, fantastic introduction for Hawks, fantastic use of High-End Nomu, fantastic use of everything. I literally can't find a flaw. I've looked, I've studied. Okay, I could probably find a flaw if I actually looked and studied, but I didn't. But I can't. There's nothing that springs to the top of my head. I'm just like, I don't really like that Reviac. I don't really like that writing choice. No, I just think that's like the most solidly written, hands down, best, juiciest arc of My Hero. That I'd eat that. That's Fuego. That's a well done steak, seasoned to perfection. Great, fantastic. Honestly, literally, Endeavor struggling to become the #1 hero because All Might's a massive chasm to fill. The society struggling to accept Endeavor as a new #1 hero because he's Endeavor and he's not All Might. Hawks being a goon. High-End Nomu being a goon. Like, all these goons, all these great character developments, all this great society development. Easy #1. I still say, go watch the success of Endeavor versus High-End. I praise the arc top to bottom because I thought it was fantastic. Because it is, in my mind. It really, really is. Now, moving on, we have School Festival. It's going at the top of Toasty. Obviously, y'all know, Gentle's my favorite villain, just because I think he's the perfect mirror for Midoriya and the perfect product of the society in terms of a villain who didn't go too far, but was only put in his position because of the world around him. I think that's great. once again, it's just my, I'll put it at the bottom of Fuego. It's very, very good. It's very, very well written. It's very, very solid. It's just that I still don't really get how Midoriya beat Gentle. That's the only thing I truly don't fully understand. And of course, it's always just the contrivances. Of course, there wasn't rope, so Midoriya had to go out and get it. And of course, he recognized Gentle because had to happen. Blah blah blah. Narrative plot stuff, contrivances. It's whatever. I still really, really like it. I think Gentle and La Brava are two great characters. I think Gentle's a fantastic foil for Midoriya. All around, I think the arc is very, very good. And of course, it has Eri getting her happiness, which is something that she definitely deserved, which is needed. And it brought a smile back to Tagada's face, which is also needed after the death of Night Eye, even though the death of Night Eye hit like a wet paper towel in terms of actual impact. So, oh yeah, that's another reason why the overall arc is down, if I didn't mention it already. Oh, Night Eye's death is a waste. Now, let's take a gander. A lot of people like this arc a lot, and I think it's okay. I really like Redestro, but that's about it. Like, Horikoshi, and a lot of mangaka, I'll be honest, shonen mangaka specifically, a lot of mangaka have this problem. Well, it's not even their fault. It's just the shonen villain of the week or villain of the arc mentality, where the Meta Liberation Army literally came out of nowhere. We heard nothing of them, then they showed up only to get jobbed by Shigaraki. And I don't know, like that. There was nothing meaty for me to dig into with that arc. Shigaraki reawakening his quirk was cool, and twice reawakening his quirk's full power was cool, but that was about it. There's not much. I still say it's very, very toasty because I love a lot of the character interactions in it, but there's nothing that puts it all the way up in Fuego. Now, moving on to the joint training arc. Whoa. That is an ice cube if I've ever seen it. Wee. Midoriya. But that's the reason. I don't know. I don't like the introductions of multiple courses in One for All. I wish Shinso was actually just put into 1A or 1B or whatever already. Like, the teasing of him wasn't really that fun. And then none of the characters really did much. Like, they revealed a whole ton of new skills. But remember, this is all under the context of literally a training exercise. All of it's meaningless. I'd say it's more meaningless than the provisional license exam, because literally nothing comes of it. At least the license exam gave them full right to go, like, be heroes. But nothing came from the joint training arc. So, actually, it's on the bottom. I dislike the provisional license exam more, but in terms of like actual plot progression, while the joint training arc did introduce more quirks, I absolutely despise that, so it loses a lot of points for me. Then there's the Endeavor Agency. I say it's toasty. It went by very, very quickly. We got, oh, we're not fast enough to help Endeavor, to a couple chapters later, oh, we're fast enough to help Endeavor, and whatever. It's good by my Boku no Hero Academia standards, but like it was a little quick story. I like how in theory Endeavor gets, like, Endeavor's the reason this arc is so high, I'll be real with you, because it's just Endeavor's character development on full shine, and of course, you know me and Endeavor's character development. I really, really like it. Other than that, I'd say that's really about it. Except for the war arc that's going on right now. And if I had to place the war arc right here, it's definitely lukewarm. You know, I don't like all the power mess. I don't like where quirks went as a power system. I think it's very, very messy right now, but I still think there are a lot of cool moments. That's really it. Let me look at the order. Just the order I put them. I put the overall arc higher than the Meta Liberation arc. Other than that, yeah, I'd say that's the order, just about. So, thank you guys so much for watching. I know this is a longer video. I haven't even clicked stop recording. I need to start timing myself. I just know this is a hefty video, because I know I started recording at least over 40 minutes ago. But, hey, what can I say? if you do get to the end of this video, I'll just leave a password. Yeah. Battle Pro Hero. Battle Pro Hero. If you got all the way to the end, put Battle Pro Hero in the comments section down below. Battle Pro Hero. If you got that far, if you got this far, put that down in the comment section below. I'll know it. I'll be impressed, honestly. Thank you guys so much for watching. And please make sure to like, share, comment, and subscribe. Honestly, I hope you guys have a wonderful day. And this is That Guy with the Pencil, writing off.